Weezy on the track, boy.
How many remember LA Gear? Flashy, bold. During the late 80s and early 90s, LA Gear was one of the front runners in the burgeoning sneaker market. From their loud, eye-catching colors to their innovative LA Lights tech, LA Gear was one of the first sneaker brands to focus more on style than they did on sports and performance. But as fast as they took off, they came crashing back down. But ever wonder how? What caused the brand with so much hype and momentum to fall so fast? Well, let's find out. I'm Nate the Great from TakeFlight214.com, and this is the rise and fall of LA Gear, from hype to history. But before we get started, I just wanted to take a second to thank you guys for helping us finally crack that 20K mark. We've done a lot of growth over the past few weeks, and all of the thanks goes out to you guys. I appreciate it so much. But with all that being said, let's jump into the video. The story all starts with Robert Greenberg. Rob started out as a hairdresser in Los Angeles, where he also sold wigs and electric tweezers. As long as he could remember, he always wanted to be president of a company on the New York Stock Exchange. Later in 1982, Robert opened his own store where he sold various other name brand clothing. It was around this time that he started dabbling with his own designs for the first time. He would sell them in the store, but at that time he didn't quite have a name yet. So he decided to hold a naming contest amongst his employees. One of the sales girls had made a previous comment that all of her shirts were, quote, real LA Gear. She thought it was a good idea, so she entered it in the contest. And just like that, LA Gear was born. Originally, it was a women's fashion brand specializing in apparel and accessories. But Greenberg saw the opportunity to pivot towards footwear. The idea was simple: create sneakers that weren't just functional, but fashionable, tapping into the growing fitness craze and casual culture. LA Gear's first breakthrough came with its brightly colored high tops and unique designs that appealed to the style-conscious ladies. The brand's motto, "Fashion that performs," perfectly captured its identity. It wasn't just about sports with them. It was about making a statement. The idea took off. They increased their sales from 200,000 to 1.8 million by the end of '85. And by 1986, Robert was finally able to fulfill his childhood dream by taking LA Gear public. As the '80s drew to a close, Robert realized that he was leaving a lot of money on the table by not offering men's shoes as well. At that time, men's athletic shoes accounted for 70% of all sales from the leading brands, but only 20% of LA Gear sales. And Robert wanted this to change. LA Gear introduced the LA Lights sneaker in 1992. They wanted to go in the flashy direction, but in a slightly different way. The standout feature was the inclusion of small LED lights embedded in the heels, which would blink with every step. This innovation targeted young kids and teenagers, aligned with an LA Gear focus on fun, vibrance, and eye-catching designs. I was like 8 years old or so when these first came out, and I thought they were the coolest sneakers ever made back then. All of the kids would proudly flex their kicks, eager to show off the dazzling light display. The blinking lights gave the shoes a futuristic, playful appeal. They came in a variety of colors and styles, including high tops and low tops to suit different tastes. The plan worked originally. LA Gear was a cultural phenomenon, pulling in over 900 million in sales and ranking as one of the top sneaker brands in the world. Part of LA Gear's success lay in its ability to innovate back then. The brand introduced a range of other iconic products as well, such as the Street Hikers, a blend of rugged boot and urban style famously endorsed by Joe Montana, and the Regulator, a sneaker with interchangeable panels for customization. They also worked with Karl Malone, Wayne Gretzky, and Hakeem Olajuwon, to name a few. However, the good times didn't quite last. By the early 90s, cracks had already began to show in LA Gear's foundation. The sneaker industry was shifting. Consumers increasingly were beginning to favor performance-driven brands like Nike and Reebok, which dominated the market with high-end tech designs and endorsements from top athletes. Not to say that Gretzky and Malone and Olajuwon weren't top athletes, but For some reason, LA Gear tried to combat this by signing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who was an established name at that time, but let's be honest, he was on his way out and was pretty much old news. So next, they tried to go in a different direction. They went after one of the biggest pop stars in the world, if not the biggest, the one and only Michael Jackson. The campaign, labeled Unstoppable, leaned into Michael Jackson's signature style and flair. Promotional materials featured bold designs, including sneakers with glittery details and high-top styles that matched MJ's eccentric aesthetic. The commercial showcased his dancing and performing skills, emphasizing his creativity and unstoppable energy. The partnership started off okay. MJ's name was synonymous with innovation and pop culture dominance, and the deal seemed to be a surefire way for LA Gear to gain international clout. But ultimately, the sneakers tied to Jackson's line underperformed in terms of both quality and design. While flashy, they lacked the durability and innovation that customers had come to expect from competitors like Nike and Reebok. Not to mention, compared to what those other brands were doing at the time, the MJ designs were way off of the mark. Like, just look at them. LA Gear was struggling to compete. Its attempts to enter the performance footwear market with men's athletic shoes was flopping, and it all culminated with the debacle of 1995. In a nationally televised game, one of the shoes spontaneously disintegrated right there on court, causing widespread criticism. But that wasn't the only problem. Overproduction and market saturation led to inventory issues. The company's reliance on its fashion-first approach began to backfire as trends changed. Compounding its woes, LA Gear faced several high-profile lawsuits. The company sued and was sued by various parties, including some of its own celebrity endorsers. Amid all of the turmoil, Robert Greenberg would wind up leaving the company, marking an end to the era. Soon after, Robert founded another sneaker brand, Skechers. Without its visionary leader, LA Gear struggled to find its footing. While its products were once sold in high-end retailers, the sneaker company started producing shoes specially for distribution at discount stores. By 1995, the company signed a 3-year contract with Walmart in an effort to boost revenue through, quote, made-for-store shoes. But at the end of the day, it really just further damaged the brand's reputation in the mind of sneaker fans, and then led to unsuccessful sales at that. What was once a bright and bedazzled staple of the 80s was quickly pushed in the corner as the 90s ushered in a new wave of brands with a new take on what was considered fashionable. It also didn't help them that they were using mercury in the LA Light shoes to activate the light feature. And in case you didn't know, mercury is extremely toxic to humans and to the earth. Several states went after LA Gear in an attempt to ban their most popular product. LA Gear wound up paying $70,000 to recycle old shoes to help mitigate the problem. The writing was pretty much on the wall, and no matter how hard they tried, LA Gear was unable to stem the bleeding. And finally, in 1998, LA Gear filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy. They didn't completely disappear though. The company made several attempts to fight back against the inevitable, with notable launches in 1999, 2003, and again in 2008. But no matter what they tried, nothing seemed to work. While LA Gear is unlikely to ever fully recover from what it lost, it'll always have a nostalgic moment in the minds of children and young adults who grew up wearing them. Whether it was the pumps, the lights, the commercials, or the era itself. LA Gear's story is really kind of a cautionary tale about the importance of adapting to industry trends, balancing innovation with sustainability while somehow still staying true to your brand's identity. And although they didn't do that as well as they could have, and LA Gear may no longer dominate the sneaker scene, but for generations of sneakerheads, LA Gear will always be remembered as a brand that lit up their childhood. Literally. But what do you think? Were you a fan of LA Gear back in the day? Hit us up in the comment section and let us know. And if you made it all the way through to the end and you enjoyed what you saw, we hope that you smash that like button for us. Liking and sharing these videos is the only way to help smaller channels like ours continue to grow and get up there with the big guys. And if you want to be updated whenever we drop a new episode, then hit the subscribe button and then the notification bell. That way you can be dinged when each new episode drops. With all that being said, I'm Nate the Great from TakeFlight214.com signing out. Until next time, peace.